the fact that they came out and they're like, hey, this sold 5 million copies, right? That's, and probably because the budget wasn't so crazy, that's a win. But if Sony comes out and says Days Gone only sold 8 million copies because they spent so much money on it, and that's the thing. I think that, movies for a long time had those kind of boutique divisions, and they also had a business model where a win could be, hey, it made a tidy profit. But these days, there, at least at most publicly traded companies, a tidy profit is no longer acceptable. So every time you step up, you've got to swing for the grand slam.
And it's to their detriment. I think PlayStation has a real opportunity to get a little bit weird. I know they got to show off the capabilities of the Pro, and they got to get us all set for the 6. But man, they've got so many cool, like you mentioned, Puppeteer and Concrete Jungle, or Concrete Genie was just absolutely incredible. I don't know if you played Fear the Spotlight.
I did. I was disappointed in it, honestly. I was looking forward to it because it's Blumhouse, and I'm like, okay, they're going to bring to bear all of their fucking knowledge of what scares us, and they're going to work with game creators. And I thought it was fine, but there were such better. Like there's a game out this year called While We Wait Here, which is mostly all set in a diner, and it probably was one guy, and it's the creepiest thing. There's a brilliant game called Among Ashes that's also a one-man band. That's what I was kind of expecting from Blumhouse, and Fear the Spotlight was just very vanilla, benign. Okay, so
well, the thing that it inspired in me to think about is that Sony has a lot of these fantastic PlayStation 1 games, which are really clunky to go back to now.
Oh, sure.
They're in between digital and analog controls. They were figuring it out. And so a lot of, like, you'll play a classic racing game and it's only on the D-pad or whatever. Sony has an opportunity, and it hit me in a flash. It's like, why not go back and just call these PlayStation 1 refreshed? Work with all of these classic old PlayStation 1 games, spend $100,000 per title or something like that, get a developer or two to jump in and tune the controls and up-res everything so that it looks pretty decent on 4K, and release them on the store and sell them for $10 a pop.
Because what's the upside? What would be the point? The amount of money you would have to spend to put producers on it and
the upside is keeping those brands alive. There's clearly a market for this retro PS1 kind of aesthetic that's happening right now. It may be small, but it's a nurtured little thing that's happening right now, just like we saw with all of the pixel artwork that's been going on over the last several years. It may be small, but you don't know when that one game comes out that kind of shakes everything right up, and people go, oh my God, this is incredible. I can't miss this.
I would take your idea and I would add a wrinkle to it, though. I would say take those IP, and I would say and be okay with the fact that you don't want to lose money, but you're probably, for the most part, every title, a tidy profit is acceptable. But every now and then go out and get, people who can use your tech and say, we want a 6-man band to make us a new slide. It only has to be 3 hours. We just want to keep it going. We'll put it on PS Plus for free for premium members, and then we'll sell it to everybody else for $15. And it could be something that you guys come up with a mechanic or a story or an IP that breaks through, and you go from the farm leagues to the big leagues. That's what I think a lot of these companies are missing, that understandably have to do well more than a tidy profit. But think about this for a minute. This last year, we had Indiana Jones, we had Star Wars Outlaws, we had Marvel. Now, I don't know exactly your age. You're close to my generation. I don't know if you're officially Gen X or
I'm Gen X.
Okay.
I think.
So everything is our shit.
Yeah.
These kids, if you take away, their YouTube heroes, if you take away
I think about this all the time. Yeah.
Right? I mean, where is their shit coming from? And this would be, you've got to have a farm league in order to save your company down the line, right? To say, okay.
Well, and to utilize this IP. I mean, that's the thing that kind of bothered me about Astrobot. It's like, okay, this is amazing, but there are 1,000 games in this game. Like you have just popped up, and I definitely have this theory. It's like, how much IP can a generation of human beings kind of grapple with. And everybody's trying to create new IP all the time, but to filter through this noise and to get past Marvel and all the other, and Star Wars and all these other things. Look at the trouble Apple TV is having getting people to watch their excellent shows.
That's right.
We have so much stuff that we have to focus on. And, you know, I love that people are always building new things. Don't get me wrong, but there's lots of awesome things that are just sitting there that we could get something new from. Look at all the unmade Marvel games, you know? And I know, and all the DC games that are unmade out there.
I was going to ask you this when we get to indie, which we will very, very soon, because I know we're going long on this topic, but it's fascinating to me. I love talking to you about it. And I hope the audience is enjoying it. And I see your super chats and stuff. I will get to them, but I want to stay focused on Victor right now. Because he needs a little coddling. He's a TV star. He needs to be taken care of. But I wonder, like, let's just we'll jump to indie and come back to this and get back to indie. But I look in indie, and my favorite game of the year, one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah. And I can't say how well it has done. I know it's obviously going to get a new lease on life when it comes to PlayStation 5. I went and I looked, I was just curious at Steam database before, and it's got like 1,700 people playing it on Steam. Obviously, the majority are playing it on Game Pass, so it wouldn't be registering on Steam. But that's, and it is a single player one and done, so when you're finished with it, like you said, you have a little nostalgia for it, but you're not going to play it forever. But I wonder about, like, if you are Craig at Lucas or you are Sony and going, is there a willingness on the part of the consumer? Like, if, let's say, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle was a success and they want to do more, but it wasn't Spider-Man 20 million copy success for a variety of reasons we can get into. If they were to say, okay, let's keep the indie thing going, it's great, it's awesome, but let's put a limit on, kind of like when Spielberg made Raiders. Spielberg had come off 1941 and he spent all kinds of money. It was a big disaster. And him and Lucas were like, let's do Raiders, but let's be so fucking penny pinching. And they came in under budget and under schedule. And it went off to, could you see the consumer playing a AA Indiana Jones game? Or would they say, oh, that?
I have talked to Craig exactly about that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think
he won't talk to me because the cocaine. So what is it that he said to you?
Yeah, I think all options are out there, and they're always, looking at different things. They are looking at it more from a licensing kind of point of view. As is clear with the partnerships that they have around this, and they're probably learning some lessons from Star Wars Outlaws. And it is kind of a shocking time, but I think it also speaks to the busyness of the time and how many different things are pulling people away at this moment in time. Like, I don't know. Craig is also doing that Star Wars Hunters game, the live.
Yeah, just came out on PC now.
Yeah, and I don't know how that's doing. I don't know, but I would imagine that's a tricky business. And
because you got to pull people away from all the other shit.
Marvel Rivals is like their rival. Like, that's got to be weird. You're both working at Disney, and you got a Marvel and a Star Wars.
I hope to because I saw this with the Disney Speed Force game, right? Which I thought was a really good game. I didn't play it for that long, but I thought the track design was good. It controlled great, but it didn't grab me enough to really make me a mega fan. Yeah. But I'm like, I don't give a fuck about your silos at this point. Marvel Rivals, go fuck yourself. Marvel Rivals, give me Star Wars 2. Put Indiana Jones in there. What are you doing? Don't. I don't
promise of metaverse,
Yeah, but it's like, the multiverse. There's not a multiverse where Indiana Jones lives with in the world of Spider-Man. Fuck you. Nobody cares. Do it. Fortnite does it. People love it. Can you imagine?
That's the epic Disney deal, which is going to be profound.
That's exactly right.
We were at D23 this year, and in the middle of their panel about all of the theme park things that they were going to do, they stopped the show essentially to talk about the partnership between Epic and Disney. And Dave Filoni came up on stage. Kevin Feige came up on stage.
I saw this.
Every single massive person at each of the silos of Disney came up on stage to talk about the joy and optimism that they feel in their relationship with Epic Games. And they didn't show us what their big partnership is going to be. I think it's going to be basically a Disneyland Fortnite kind of idea, but more under the control of Disney IP. Craig knows, but he'll never tell us.
Right. But you'll go like the Avengers Mansion will be like a land or Marvel Land or whatever, and there'll be quote rides or games or whatever.
Yes.
I mean,
and then I think they're going to give a lot of agency to the player to build in that space as well, to create things, to be their own character in that world.
What is the budget? Is over $1 billion, or is it $1 billion? I've heard the number is just a crazy number.
I know. I mean, it's a digital theme park. And do you stop? I mean, we're from a generation where we see the acceleration with all of this.
Yeah.
But do you ever stop and just go like, holy shit, we all live in two realities all the time now. We're online humans.
I love it.
And we're in IRL humans, you know.
Yeah, I don't even like the IRL as much anymore. I really don't. I don't give a what people say. I don't care if it's unhealthy. I was playing Sea of Thieves the other day. I had my own ship. I set it to just auto sail towards these rocks, and I got on the mast and I looked up at the stars, and I'm like, I'm happy here.
I want to come down and hang out with you on the beach, man. I like
the virtual
real beach. You have beautiful beaches in San
Diego. Then I have to leave my house. I'm not going outside.
I'm gonna knock on your door. I'm gonna get a tandem bike for two, and we're gonna go ride to the beach and watch the waves for a little bit. And no graphics, no visuals.
Let me be clear with you, Victor. Okay.
Yeah.
I am, and you know this. I'm probably the most progressive guy you know.
Yeah.
I am all for DEI. I'm LGBT ally up and down. That's a little gay. And it's not a bad thing. Nothing's wrong with that. But I'm not riding a goddamn tandem bicycle with you, Victor. That's a call you make to Tommy, not to me. I think it sounds delightful. Delightful.
That'd be great. We'll pack a lunch. We'll get outside.
I'm in.
It sounds like my co-host Scott Jones would always say that stuff to me. I'm just like you. I'm obsessed about all this. I have 3 freaking screens in front of me right now. You know, like we are connected too much.
It's delightful, though. I mean, that we can have this relationship and this. My daughter is in Vegas now, and it sucks that I don't get to physically see her and hug her every day, but. I see her and I talk to her and we play Wordle a lot almost every night together with her and her boyfriend and stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, it's zeros and ones, but it's atoms and quarks. It's the same thing. We're all living in the soup of just, the Lord soup, Victor, is what we're swimming in.
Well, we might all just be data anyways. So what is the difference?
I think we are. Right. Punisher, though, last thing on this is like, imagine like if Disney, I don't know how they're going to demarcate it and stuff. I don't know if you saw the Daredevil trailer. That was awesome. But like, imagine like just going to the guys who, going to the guys who made Ultra Kill or Mullet Jack or one of these like 2 or 3 or 4 or Angerfoot and going, just, we don't need the pomp and circumstance of a AAA.
Dude, we're seeing this play out. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game.
Yeah, but no, it's great. It's great.
It's a great game for that IP.
I want Craig.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, this guy. What did his mother and I go wrong? I want you to go out to the guys that do Ultra Kill or Dave Oshry over at what's his company called? The guys who make Dusk. I'm
not sure.
Whatever. Amazing indie shooters, raw as fuck, and give them the Punisher license. Don't charge them for it. Don't just say thank you, and I'll see you in 18 months. Because can you imagine a raw as fuck hard R Punisher boomer shooter? These guys would kick it out the door.
I want Remedy to make a Doctor Strange game.
Oh.
Could you imagine what those guys could do with Doctor Strange?
Would you give it to Remedy or would you give it to Insomniac with all their weird abilities and weapons and stuff? Because Insomniac, I think, makes more commercial.
Insomniac, anything they want to make, they should, like honestly, like if there was a way to clone the teams at Insomniac, and why they're there is because of all of the weird experimentation and even the other types of and the publishing deals that they did with Meta and with Xbox, like they got a chance to taste a whole bunch of different directions. They were scrappy and indie for so long. They know how to do anything.
That's right.
But they were at AAA scale and they always delivered. They are carrying the PlayStation 5 right now with their software. And
what's interesting though is Wolverine though, I'm fascinated to see, because I was talking to some people and I'm not going to go into names and stuff, but you know him, we all know him, Craig knows him. And it's like, one of the things that has been, and this is really tricky, one of the things that has been so successful because of Insomniac is how Price and whoever else kind of manages everything, is that it's like you've got room to run, you've got room to be creative, but we're also a company that's like, when that door is shut, it's time to get to work and build off these templates that we know and add whatever you can. And that's why they're able to be so consistent with their output and quality. Well, I look at something like Wolverine, and I would never judge a game by leaks, of course. That's ridiculous. But I think in terms of polish, and it's going to look brilliant, it's going to control brilliant, there's no doubt. But that's a hard nut to crack, I would imagine, because Wolverine is about the character, but mechanically speaking, it's just a melee game with a sniff Batman power is what it looks like. And I'm like, that's got to be a hard thing to solve.
Well, I mean, if you look at who was the team that made the X-Men Wolverine's Revenge game, for the
Genesis back in the day?
No, or what was it?
Oh, you mean the Wolverine Origins, the God of War
X-Men Origins?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they did a really good job at mechanically, and it wasn't maybe narratively the richest source material,
right?
But they made a really fun Wolverine game. So and Insomniac did that. Like, there've been so many excellent Spider-Man games before they got into it, and they just did their homework on all the good Spider-Man games. There's been some decent Wolverine games. They just have to kind of look at the giants from before, like the people that have done well, and stand on their shoulders and knock it out of the park. And think about the lessons they learned.
I think mechanically he's tough though, because he doesn't have, it's not swing. Or he doesn't have all the weird Doctor Strange powers, or he doesn't have the gore factor of the. I mean, he does, but how far are they going to push that? Okay, anyway, all right.
He'll have a bike. He'll have a kick-ass bike, and he'll whip around in the streets.
Will it be tandem?
I hope so.
It's called a callback, Victor. You should know. It's on TV. TV kids came up with that.
A tandem bicycle with Wolverine.
He's got Deadpool on the back, but you got to buy the DLC. That would be awesome.